Have you ever woken up and realized you didn't have a lot of time to do your makeup at all, but still wanted to look perfected, and then you sit down to do your makeup, maybe something goes wrong, like your bronzer is orange, your foundation doesn't match, something starts pilling with each other, and it just ends up making you feel a lot worse? Because same, I've been through a lot of that. So I wanted to share with you my dedicated, quick and easy natural makeup routine for pale skin that's really going to flatter your skin and make you feel better. It's really lightweight feeling, and it just is the perfect go-to routine that I do all the time and always love how it comes out. Okay, let's get started with base. It's my dog in the background. But I like to do either a color correcting base or something with a bit of glow to it. Having fair skin, I usually like to focus most of my attention on the base if I do have a limited amount of time, just because I feel like my discolorations and redness show through really easily just being so pale. So if you relate to that, I would say whatever part of your makeup routine makes you feel the best is spend the most amount of time on that. So if I want to do something color correcting, you know I love the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Serum, Moisturizer, and Primer. This is a great like 3-in-1 product, and the green is nice and subtle but does dim down redness. I've been loving the Chantecaille Sheer Glow Rose Face Tint as a bit of a glowy option, but it doesn't have a lot of like visible shimmer in it, and this is the one I'm going to be using today. But if you want a more affordable option, the Covergirltrublend Skin Enhancer Jelly Opal Glow. This is a lot more shimmery, so maybe mix it in with a moisturizer or use a lot less of it if you want more of this kind of effect. But yeah, that's another great just glowy product. So let's go ahead and blend this one. This one from Chantecaille has like such a nice natural rose scent. It's very, very lightweight, so I don't feel like it adds really any weight to my makeup. It also just like instantly makes your skin look radiant and healthy in a non like obvious shimmer kind of way. It does have that slight pink hint to it. I don't feel like it really does too much on the skin though. I do also have a bronze version with shimmer. Let me check. The bronze version maybe has a little bit of shimmer, but if you have pale skin, I would stay away from this one because it'll just make you orange. So this is such a great routine if you're just short on time or maybe you're sick. Like I'm currently still a little bit sick. I've been sick for the past week, so my skin has been also a little bit drier. So I'm gonna use the Merit Beauty foundation stick. Now they have new shades of this. Thankfully, I was never able to find a good shade match until now. This one is the shade Chiffon, which I believe is like their lightest neutral-ish, definitely like a warmer shade. So I will be using this today. I'm gonna start with just a little bit on the cheek, and then I'm blending with a sponge. This actually works really well with a brush as well. I'm just such a sponge person most of the time. I like how this gives smooth, like light, medium coverage. Definitely buildable, but it kind of just evens out your skin tone. And if I am using a sponge with this, I kind of do like a swiping motion. It actually works quite well. What I really like about this is it doesn't feel like too heavy on the skin. If I want something more moisturizing without a ton of weight. I know I mentioned that with the base too, the primers. I just don't love having really heavy makeup feeling on my face. It just, I don't know, it feels like it's just sitting on top of my skin. Just gonna do a little bit more just where I need it. But this is a pretty quick foundation to blend out as well. You know, I also love the About Face foundation. If you want a liquid, that one I can also put on super quickly. I would say if you're in a rush, usually matte foundations can be finicky or like sit poorly. Like if you just apply something and then it dries too quickly or something, you have to start over, like that would be worst case scenario. So I like to do things that are just nice and moisturizing and supple on the skin, and they're really like user friendly and blendable. A little bit more on my nose redness. Sometimes the worst part of being sick is like the amount of dry skin I get under my nose, the worst. So I'm definitely still feeling very natural. It still looks like my skin, but it just perfected everything. I'm gonna throw on my Haus Labs concealer. I love this. It's just so foolproof, I guess. It's just like it never creases on me. It always lays well. It's just the perfect concealer, one of my all-time favorites. Probably my all-time favorite actually. And I'm going to blend that with that same sponge. And then just so we don't need to do an eyelid primer, just swipe that over the eyelid as well. Boom, super easy. We're not going for anything too perfected or full coverage. It's just to even out the skin tone. Next, before I set anything, I have some new shades of the Merit Beauty blushes that I want to try. I've talked about Beret, I believe, in Mood, which are like their purpley ones. They have some new shades. So they have like this pop line with a couple of like brighter pops of color. So that is within that line called Les Bonbon, and it's my first new packaging one from them. The gold is really pretty. So this is super bright, but these formulas are very, very blendable and moisturizing. So you're getting a nice sheer wash of color, and these are so easy to throw on in a pinch. They're great. And then we have some more like neutral muted shades. This one is called Archival, which is a really pretty like neutral rosy pink. This one is gorgeous. I feel like this would be flattering for so many skin tones. It's almost like a rosy bronzes, just like it doesn't pull too warm or too cool. It's just that perfect neutral rose if you're just someone who likes a more subdued blush. And then we also have Bespoke, which is kind of like this deeper berry brown. Also looks gorgeous. These are so nice in sheer, so like this looks intimidating, but trust me, on fair skin these are really, really beautiful. So I've actually been wearing this light pink one a lot, the bright pink that I showed you first. So I want to go ahead and try the Archival shade today. So I'm just going to do 2 swipes. I'm going to do a little bit on my nose as well. And then I'm actually using quite a small, this is the Angie Hot and Flashy A506 little BK Beauty brush. And I'm just going to blend that in with this brush. I like to use this blush before I do any powder because it is a cream. You kind of want to put that on a wet foundation. Blush is such an essential step for me, even if I'm doing really quick makeup. And it's because I feel like if you have fair skin or you have a lot of redness in your skin in general, I feel like it distinguishes, it adds a new color of flush to my skin. So even if I have my redness showing through, it looks different, right? It almost tones it down because you're more focused on like the different color that's on the cheeks, if that makes sense, if you know what I'm saying. I feel like it really does help. Merit Beauty products honestly just always look so natural on the skin. If that's what you love in makeup, you would really enjoy these. I do feel like I want it to be a little bit brighter though, so I'm gonna go back in with Le Bonbon just on the apples of the cheeks. You can also blend these blushes out with a sponge for sure. I'm actually gonna quickly take my sponge, just going over everything, make sure it's blended, wipe it down the neck, just make everything seamless. To set my under eyes, I'm gonna use my favorite FLORASIS. This is their gorgeous Peach Blossom powder in the peach shade. This is really subtle. It doesn't show up dark on fair skin. And I've been obsessed with this because it does help correct the under eyes. So when I'm doing my makeup in a pinch, I feel like it just is a really great multitasking product. It also always sits beautifully on the skin. It's lightweight but mattifying but not dry. It's perfection. So I'm just going to blend out my creases and get any cakiness off if there was any to begin with. It comes with this round puff, which is great for the face, but I like to use a pointed puff. I just bought these on Amazon, and I like to take the powder and then just press it right into the under eye and then sort of be on my way with this. Also just throwing some on the eyelid to set the concealer up there. This will make a nice base for eyeshadow. Now if you were in a super rush, you could just use the same powder all over your face, but from that same brand they also make a mint green one, so I love this one to tone redness. Again, a great multitasking product. I'm gonna take a puff here. I've been talking about these powders in like every one of my videos since I discovered them. They've been amazing, and I use just the puff that it came with and just press it on. These are also great if you're in a rush. I feel like it just gets the powder on and presses it in, locks all that makeup on. You can still see the really pretty blush over it. You could definitely put these over a powder. I would just make sure you're using like a sponge in a tapping motion if you do want more glow. I just like to set most of my makeup with a powder. For bronzer, I've been loving this from Well People, the Superpowder Golden Hour bronzer. This wasn't like a new discovery of mine. It's something I've had for a while and know that I liked. I just pulled it out of my drawer, and it just has a really great, pretty sheer type of formula, so I don't have to worry about like going overboard or having orange bronzer. Try to avoid anything that could like ruin my makeup and just make me lose my confidence for the day, especially if I'm already like short on time and want something quick, natural, and simple. It does have a bit of shimmer in it. I honestly feel like most of it kind of brushes off when you do apply it, but I think it just gives like a really nice, more rosy, non-orange, but still like adds that color to our face. I always like to do my cheek products no matter how short I am on time, because bronzer and blush for fair skin is just adding the dimension back to our face. You know, we can look flat or dull really easily, so those are lifesavers. Also gonna quickly throw on a highlight. This is from FLORASIS as well, the Lilac Haze one. This is a gorgeous subtle lavender highlighter. Might have heard me talk about this before. Again, this is really natural. I don't have to worry about it like showing up too harsh or ruining the natural quick look that I'm doing. Really just layer this up. And then if you did this makeup and you still feel like you have blemishes to cover, one of my favorite really quick tips also prevents your makeup from looking cakey because you're spot concealing. Take a powder foundation. This is the Alima Pure Olive Zero Loose Powder Foundation. I take a little tiny brush like this Refer 23 brush, get a little bit of the powder on the brush, any red spot I have or just more obvious blemish I want to conceal, I will just pop it on. I also feel like this gives way more even coverage to a blemish. You know, sometimes you try to cover cover a blemish and the concealer won't stick, and you put more on and it gets really cakey, and then you set it with powder and it just looks super dry and weird. Try this trick out. So once I sort of have the powder on there, I'll just take a little bit more on a small setting brush and then just blend it out so it blends in with the surrounding skin. This way I'm not using a ton of product at all. It'll just help send those blemishes into the background a little bit more. So I like to kind of speed through my base because it's usually pretty easy to do with the right products, and save a little time for my brows because I feel like my brows can take a while. I'm gonna use the Billion Dollar Brows On Point Micro Brow Pencil in Taupe. This is a little bit darker than I usually do my brows, but if I want to fill them in really quickly, I do like a slightly deeper color that I could just brush through, and it's like I can do less work and get a more dramatic finish. So I'm just gonna feather this into the most sparse areas, or sort of like the arches of my brows, and brushing as I apply this. Another really nice tip that I love is if you feel like the pencil product isn't sticking in the arch of your brow or whatever your sparse area is, brush the hairs down, and then you can sort of like fill in the gap there so the hairs don't get in the way, and then brush it back and see what the shape is like. It's a really helpful one. I think having fair skin or being low in contrast, your brows can have a huge impact on your look. That's how I feel, is if I don't have brows on, like I just feel like there's no structure to like my eye area because my brows are so light. So I never skip brows. Even those like tinted brow gels, I just feel like I need shape, not necessarily like color. You know what I'm saying? Like I do need color, but you know how the brow gels just like they don't actually fill in the skin that doesn't have hair on it? That's what I need. Also from Billion Dollar Brows, they have this Raising Brows liquid brow pen, also in Taupe, which is a really similar shade to the brow pencil. This is an extra step. You could totally skip it if you're running out of time, but I just like to do a few hair strokes just in the front of the brow and then soften them with a brush or my finger. I feel like that just helps make things look a little more natural, brushing them in. And if you want to lighten your brows, the brush that I use for the powder foundation, just brushing over top of them, really good for blonde brows or like gray brows, to just lighten them to match your hair if they're a little too dark. And then I'm going to finish the brows with the Billion Dollar Brows Billion Dollar Brow Lift. I really like this brow gel. It has a super tiny little applicator, which I love. It's thin, but it holds the brows really well. It's not like dry or flaky. I've tried a lot of brow gels that are like that and I just never like them. I like these more thin, like truly gel-like ones that dry nicely and they don't like look weird or dry super crunchy, but they still hold. Another trick I love to do when I'm in a rush is the bronzer that I used. You can even use the blush that you used if you want a more pink shade. Fluffy brush, just throw it in the crease. It's so easy and it looks cohesive. I also never skip this step because I feel like it brightens my eyes so much. The ColourPop Calabasas gel liner, completely worn off, but this is a light shimmery gel liner that I love in the waterline. You could also use a light matte shade. And then sometimes I'll just skip a lid shade, maybe a light shimmer. This e.l.f. Finest Fleck glitter eyeshadow. This will add a lot of impact really quickly with very minimal products. This is the shade White Hot, which is just a really pretty glowy champagne. So I'm just taking that on my finger. A glitter shade, but it's really fine glitter, so it looks really pretty and still natural. I just pop that on the lid. It's super easy and quick. If you do like a little shimmer on the lid, those are really nice, affordable single shadow. I do always like to do a liner, powdered liners using eyeshadow. They're so much easier to clean up if you do mess up. You probably experience the kind of day where you decide to do liquid liner and you spend like 10 minutes trying to fix it and you're late. So if you are in a rush, I would do a powder liner. This is the Ilia Necessary palette in Cool Nude. This is really old, probably expired honestly, but I'm gonna take this like neutral brown. I'm gonna mix in a little bit of this maroon as well, just whatever eyeshadow you have. You could even use your bronzer. Taking a small angled brush, just stamping it on the lash line, and then I just take the edge of the brush, sweep it out, and then connect it back. And then if you have an edge and you don't like how sharp it is, you can literally just use your finger or a brush with a little bit of powder foundation on it. And I think a fun trick is to do like a slightly different colored mascara, whether that's brown. I have a burgundy one here. Just whatever you have, I think is a really quick, easy way to add interest to your makeup, even though it doesn't take any more time than just using a black mascara. So I like this Maybelline Sky High one. So I just added that to the top and bottom lashes. I think I want a bit more glow. I'm going into the Merit Beauty blush in Le Bonbon again, just on the back of my hand, and then I'm going to I like to squeeze my brush sort of into like, my sponge into this like round shape, take the cream blush and pick it up on the sponge, make sure that it's diffused, and you could really easily just pat this over makeup even if you've already powdered. Sometimes you can't tell until you have more makeup on like how much blush you need. Sometimes I start with a little bit and then I'll blend it and build it up as I go. For lips, I'm gonna go for a really go-to lip liner, ColourPop Cool BFF. What can I say? I love this. I did see that MAC came out with new cool nudes. I'm not sure like a lot of them even look cool toned. Really curious to try them. If you want to, let me know. And then sometimes I'll just do like a gloss or a lip balm, tinted lip balm. I'm gonna use a lipstick as well today from RMS. This is the Naomi Legendary Matte Lipstick, and this looks intimidating, but it's actually nice and subtle. These have like a refreshing bursting water feel to them, which is really weird but cool. And they also don't really feel like anything in the lips. Even with lip products in general, I like to go with really weightless makeup if I'm doing something quick. It just makes the skin feel really nice. So I just dab that and then I'll use my finger to sort of diffuse it so I don't have to worry too much about application. And then to top it, I'm going to use one of the Merit Beauty Shade Slick Jelly Tinted Lip Oils. Also new to me product from them. I haven't tried the jelly lip oils. I've tried the original versions that I like, and this is the shade Jade, which is a like kind of looks like it would be orange, but it's actually just like a neutral shiny shade on the lip. Goes with everything. And then just finish off with a little bit of spray. I'm gonna use the Pop Beauty Makeup Magnet Mist. Just mist that over. And then I would probably bring the lip liner in Gloss Duo with me to reapply. But this is the super easy, quick, glowier side of makeup that really does not take much time to do at all. Just focusing on all the right things for pale skin makes a really big difference. I always used to feel like I needed to do like a lot of makeup to make YouTube videos, like creative looks and stuff, which I love. But honestly, like I love teaching you how to do these really natural looks because I wear them so much. And I just like sharing the combos that I've come up with. If you enjoy them as well, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like. I'm also gonna put one of my probably pale skin playlist on the screen here so you can dive a little deeper into the makeup world with me. I'll see you over there. Bye.